Okay, so here's the first video. You went out and bought a chess set. Very good, you got your first chess set. Now before you go play, of course there is a few rules that any chess player has to know before they even sit down a game of chess. And this definitely applies if you want to start playing seriously. If you're at the stage when you're coming to sit down, you got to remember that you're not allowed to distract your opponent. And this applies to anyone that's watching your game playing. They're not allowed to come out to the edge of the table and start playing your pieces. Oh, what about this? And start asking you questions. That's not right. It's not fair. Chess is a game of mental skill as more as it is about stamina or anything else, and tactics. And I apologize for my cat Fifi right now. I'm not trying to be a Bond villain. And so when you come to the thing, you turn off your phones. Don't start putting coffees and, well, you can have your drink on the side of the table, but you can't have anything that's overpowering in smell and stuff like that. Anything that can put off your opponent off their game is not allowed. If you're using a chess clock, which I thoroughly recommend for a good game, whatever hand you use to touch with your piece is the same hand that you have to press the clock with. That doesn't stop you from using two hands in the game, but whatever hand you use to touch that piece with is the same hand that has to press the clock. So if I move my knight with my right hand and decide to move my bishop with my left hand has to press the clock, not my right. And that's also true. You can, at the start of the game, people like to sort their pieces, like put them in the center of their square, make them look nice, put them in a certain way. That's all fine and dandy. But once the game has started, as soon as you touch a piece, you have to move it. You're not allowed to go, oh, I'm not thinking about that, or anything else. You're not allowed to go, oh, and put your hand over the piece and pull back. I mean, you can do, it happens, but that's strongly discouraged. But as soon as your hands physically touch the piece, you have to move it. And that implies if you touch your enemy's piece first. If you pick it up and then take it and then change your mind, sorry, you're not allowed. You have to go ahead and take that piece, whether you like to or not, because you've touched the piece. Also, time rules. If you're writing your moves down and you're in a tournament game, you have to keep up with the game. You have to carry on with your notation until you reach time control, which is 5 minutes from the end. Once you reach the point of 5-minute game, you can stop writing down the moves. However, if you reach time control, like if you reach 30 moves in the game, you get 15 minutes added. Once the point of the clocks are being added, the time's being added, you have to go back to writing down the moves. And again, until you go under 5 minutes. Also, with time control, even if your opponent's clock has expired, if you yourself does not have sufficient material to win the game, you do not win and the game is a draw. So if you only have a king and a knight and a bishop and you're just playing to run out the time, your opponent could declare a draw because you do not have sufficient material to win. If, let's just say, you have your opponent has under 30 seconds, you have a king, a knight, and a bishop, and one pawn, that pawn makes all the difference. So if that time expires with that pawn still on the board, it would be declared a win because that pawn has a potential to get to the end of the board and become a queen, and then you would have a way to mate them. However, if that pawn gets taken off within that last 5 seconds, again, it would be a draw, because there would be no way for me to checkmate and win the game. So there's no point stalling in the game just to run out the clock, because you do that in football, but you can't do that on the chessboard. If you cannot win, it'll be declared a draw. If you keep the penalties for violating these things varies depending on what tournament and whatever the arbiter decides. If you forget to write down your moves, normally, if your opponent spots you, they can demand that you catch up on your moves on your time. So you're sitting there with your clock running, and then you have to catch up on all the moves that you've missed. And I have done that myself, and that can be a tactic a player uses against you. So if you want extra time to think, but you don't want to use their time, or if you're under time pressure, I noticed the guy who wasn't writing down his moves, and I said, sorry, you've got to write down your moves. Now, normally teams have captains. Now, if you're not comfortable confronting your opponent for whatever reason, you can go speak to your captain, and then the captain will speak to the opposite team's captain, and they'll approach your player and say, hey, you've got to write down your moves on your time, because it's not going to make him happy. But it's the rules, so what are you going to do? If you're not prepared to play the rules, don't play the game. There is a lot of luck in chess, but there is a lot of skill as well. It's about making the best possible move that you can possibly think of at that time, and it strains your mind. Most typical chess games can last up to 3 hours. The tournament games I played, or the league games I played, was 30 moves, and then you get 15 minutes added to your clock, and then you play to the finish. And you have an hour and quarter on the clock to start with, so you get an extra hour and 35 minutes total each. So it can be a long game, which is good. I mean, that's the challenge. You're most likely to get a long game if you're equally matched against someone. If someone that's got a skill the same of yours, you're not going to fall for the same stupid stuff that most people do, and you're going to try your best, and that's where you get the nitty-gritty games and high possibilities of draw, because that's the ultimate goal of chess, to play the best moves. And if each player plays the correct and best move, the game will always end in the draw, because no mistakes are made. And ironically enough, that's how games are won, by who makes the more mistakes. The first mistake normally doesn't cost you the game. It's the second or third. Chess is a game of fun. It is a game of skill. And there's so many lessons to be had and learned from the game. I really hope that you carry on watching these videos. Go through the videos of the games that I play. Come over to our Facebook page and join up. You can join the club that I play. I play on the website Red Hot Pawn, and you can join it for free. And we can play games limited. There is a subscription for the website too, so you can play as many games as you want. That I would recommend, but I'm not going to tell you or force you. I'm not here to sell subscriptions for Red Hot Pawn. I don't represent them at all. It's just the best I found, and it's not a website that. So if you don't have time to sit down for 3 hours, it's okay, because it's correspondence chess. So you can have up to 3 weeks on some games just to play your move, and you have a time bank. So if you got 21 days to make your move, and then you get 7 days extra time bank, and every time you make your move, the clock gets reset. You get another 21 days or something like that. You can have shorter games, 1 day timeout, no time banks and such like that. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to cover in this video, chess etiquette. It is something that you have to follow. Even online chess, there is some rules. You don't go bragging in the chat. You don't go say, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you." If someone makes a bad move, you don't gloat over it. If it's in a competition, if it's a friendly game, then by all means you can point things out, because that's how chess is. And you've also got to remember, you're going to lose your fair amount of games, but that's how you learn. You don't learn anything by winning. You learn by getting your ass kicked. And playing players against players that are higher rated than you is good, because you will learn a lot. Because we know how to play. I mean, I'm no chess grandmaster or international master yet, but the thing is, I know the rule book.